From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022 and the world events that are impacting big money across the board. The president overnight spoke about the Build Back Better Act and says it's going to happen. These are new comments after that State of the Union address. And he says you need those checks in view of the oil prices. Of the latest great news from the President of the United States about Build Back, that $80,000 in new checks are coming out. And are you ready for them? I'm going to show you how to get these new additional stimulus checks of $80,000. It's deliciousness. Then we'll be turning to the big exciting details of CR for stimulus, SS300, and third stimulus. Viewers are cleaning up with average of $45,000 in this channel. And Jay Powell set to meet this week to discuss your benefits and how they're impacted across the board. It's a big developing details, and we'll look at that. Plus, the price of gasoline surging to $4 a gasoline next week. That warning now sent out as Vladimir Putin's acts of aggression advancing. The next focal point, Odessa. And could he take Odessa? And what would that do for grain and wheat as wheat prices surge out of control last week? What we're looking for that. Meantime, the humanitarian crisis growing across the board. Big sums of money and big monies at issue. The President of the United States detailing for stimulus, detailing the big money for third stimulus, and now $80,000 of checks. I have a lot of money to get you in a big afternoon's recording. For the shores of Santa Monica, we got third stimulus, fourth stimulus, $80,000 of new checks. And then the exciting details of SS300. Meantime, oil prices, wheat prices, potentially coming down and the president makes a pivot. I have all the incredible details right now as Afternoons LA gets underway from the shores of Santa Monica, California, as the president's trying to parlay the Build Back Better Act into a solution for inflationary concerns. Can he do it? Those details heat up as an Afternoons LA broadcast gets underway right now from Santa Monica, California, with the big money unfolding domestically and impacted internationally. What would happen and how quickly could you get those money? And what's happening with Vladimir Putin and how it impacts the situation across the board? All those incredible details come on up right now as Afternoons LA starts from Santa Monica, California. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And the President of the United States speaking about Build Back Better Act in a series of new comments saying that we need it because of the price of gasoline surging out of control. The latest details on what's at issue and why the president's pivoting based upon the events of what's happening to Vladimir Putin overseas. Then we'll be looking at that big $80,000 and more checks that are coming out to the American people. How you're ready to get it and you need it as wheat prices surging out of control. We have a big broadcast today, and I'm excited for you. But first, we're going to start with the Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon, detailed again by the President of the United States during the State of the Union address. But in new comments overnight, he says it's going to happen. And he says you need it because of why? Inflationary concerns, and also the price of gasoline. Tonight on Evenings LA 1-hour special broadcast, we'll be going over more about these incredible comments. But first, let's go over those checks right now. Build Back Better Act has 3 classes of checks and 3 add-ons. And those incredible checks amount to at least $15,000 to $60,000 of checks for viewers of this channel. How do you get those checks and what do they amount to and what are they detailed for? I'm going to go over all those details right now. $15,000 of checks, 3 clusters, and 3 add-ons. In that first cluster we have in there, hazard pay. For my essential workers, 1 more year of the Earned Income Tax Credit. Learn about it at irs.gov. They got $4,000 of elder care. They got the Pell Grant. And then they got the home repairs if you live in a low-income community. That's the first of 3 clusters of checks in the Build Back Better Act, which will be detailed more tonight in that 1-hour special broadcast of Evenings LA at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. There is also 3 add-on checks to this incredible Build Back Better Act, and the first one comes from Here in Southern California, Maxine Waters got it in there just a little bit less than $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. In that second cluster of checks, we have home repairs and paid leave. Paid leave is if you have to stay home due to sickness or illness, and it's incredible. Millions of Americans would benefit from this W-2, 1099, and if you don't work and your $7 dollar does work, you could get a benefit from it as well. How? It's featured tonight in that evening's 1-hour special broadcast at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. There is also a second add-on of checks coming from Bob Casey. Got in there on the House side, the Build Back Better Act now has at least $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. In that third cluster of checks, we got checks for seniors and free internet and farmers checks and independent contractors checks. The seniors checks start on the House, Medicaid gap fix, and lowering, and also the incredible hearing checks. But on the Senate side, they got dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare potentially from 65 to 55. And there you go. When we talk about the senators adding checks in there, they also vow to add in there an additional round of checks. And those additional round of checks are called MSE. MSE are monthly IRS stimulus checks that would come to millions of Americans in addition to the checks that are already in the Build Back Better Act. These are checks that will be added on the Senate side, and the senators represent, they're added in there. Eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check. So who got a third and who would get a fourth stimulus check as well? If you are $75,000 less annual income, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it, double it. Family of four, you get it as well, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security or railroad benefits, or veterans benefits, you get it as well. It's not income, it's not taxable. It's not California stimulus. California, we get surfboard instead. And it comes off of the most recent tax return. So if that had a direct deposit account, that's how you get paid. How much would it be? $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. And again, this is MSC that would be added to the Build Back Better Act that already has $15,000 to $80,000 of checks already in there. Now, later in this video, I'm going to show you how the President of the United States surprised everyone by announcing $80,000 of new stimulus checks that go live as early as this coming Monday. So this is before Build Back Better Act, this is before CR for stimulus, and this is before SS 300. Don't wave that tin cup at me. Don't wave that tin cup at me, because this is something to get your things and pens and paper ready, because this money is going live and you want to be first as a Purple Hawk and to pounce when this money goes live. Stay with me. It's coming up later in this video. Now, when we look at CR for Stimulus 1.0, where is that right today at the time of this recording? At the time of this recording, CR for Stimulus is still teed up for an early March deadline. And that mid-early March deadline has $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds in there to fund the federal government, and that funding the federal government has bipartisan support and would get done. $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds with the discretion of the White House on how to spend the money. Far more than enough for a $2,000 stimulus check. So you want to advocate to ensure that those legislators spend the money on you and get that $2,000 stimulus check out across the board. How does it work? It'll be featured more tonight on that evening's 1-hour broadcast of Evenings LALATE at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, CR for Stimulus 2.0 and 3.0 also still heating up. Merging in the Senate, this would merge a House Democratic bill with a Republican Senate bill and get them together in the House, Senate, and send it out as new economic reform. This in addition to Build Back Better Act, in addition to CR for Stimulus. But what about $80,000 of new checks? Yes, these were announced by the White House on Friday, and this is incredible sums of money. The program is much like what was detailed first in this channel. When a program goes live, it doesn't have unlimited funds, it doesn't get front page news, and it doesn't get a lot of coverage. But you're going to learn about it on this channel, and it's coming up after the commercial break. Now, when we look at the big sums of money that are available across the board, one of the sums of money that we're looking at as well is SS 300. SS 300 comes from the question of how to get money out to millions of Americans who are on Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and more by replacing their benchmark from COLA to inflation. Well, breaking news today is that we're looking at what Jay Powell is going to be doing next week, and there's new indications that he will have to and deal with inflationary pressures that we may not have even seen last week. What's at issue? This is how it works. Your benefits are currently tied to COLA, and your benefits go up based upon what COLA does. But COLA doesn't really move. And during his run for president, the president said, I'll swap out COLA with inflation. Not his idea. It was Elizabeth Warren's original idea. Joe Biden adopted it. Then when he became president, he put it on his joebiden.com website, saying, I'll swap out COLA for inflation. So what's at issue? You want the president to swap out COLA for inflation now before Jay Powell reduces inflation. What's going on? Inflation is currently tracking its highest level of a generation, 8% in the month of December, actually 7.5%. And this coming week, in just a few days, Jay Powell will have the first of 5 FOMC meetings to determine how to reduce inflationary rates. His comments last week were incredible, saying that he's going to do a quarter basis point increase in March and stay with that indefinitely until we see what's happening with Vladimir Putin's actions of aggression. If Vladimir Putin becomes a bigger issue and inflation is stronger, then Jay Powell says, I'll come in a little bit stronger. But for now, I don't want to come in too strong. But what is the brand new economic data that's coming out today that you're hearing for the first time this afternoon? Dow Jones economists today now believe that the inflationary rate may rise to 7.8% in the month of January. This is breaking news, folks. In the month of December, it was 7.5%. Last year, I predicted that December was going to be 8%, while most analysts, including Jay Powell and Wall Street, said it was only going to be 2 to 3%. It came in at 7.5%. Then I said that January may come in at 8%. The new report today, according to Dow Jones, says the January number may come in at 7.5%, which again is tracking right exactly consistent with what I'm saying. This will be the highest number for inflation for the month of January since 1982. And of course, energy and food prices are part of the inflationary pressure. If it comes in at 7.5%, this is good for you and your SS300 because Jay Powell does not have enough tools to bring down inflation fast enough before Joe Biden swaps out COLA for inflation. Remember, when your benefits are tied to inflation, you track at the highest price point then. Let's go an example. Let's say we swapped out COLA for inflation today, and it's 8% right now. And let's say Jay Powell later this year gets inflation down to 4%. Doesn't make any impact on your benefits because you track at the number at which you're tied at. Remember, once your benefits go up, they never go down. So if you're tied at inflation at 8% today and inflation goes down later this year, you're still at 8%. Even better. Let's say inflation goes to 4% later this year. Your benefits is reassessed every year. So at the end of this year, you would go up another percentage point based upon a 4% inflationary rate. Let's do the analysis. 8%, if it was today that they swapped for COLA to inflation, you go up about $200, SS200. And if inflation was 4% later this year, another $100, approximately SS300. This is why Joe Biden needs to make a phone call. And tonight on Evenings LA, we'll go more over these economic numbers that we're seeing going into next week. My prediction? Jay Powell will do a quarter basis point at his FOMC meeting next week. Also my prediction. Inflationary numbers will come in at about 8% for the month of January 2022. Also my prediction. Inflationary numbers will stay around 8 to 7% through the month of March 2022. Again, inflationary numbers are not released until a month later. And then inflation will not fall below 7% to at least potentially May of this year. Now, we'll have more about that tonight and that 1 hour Evenings LA special broadcast. But what do you need to know about your money at home? Ultimately, there's a lot of money available, and $80,000 of new stimulus checks have been announced by the White House. Are you ready to get them? I bet you are. I'm going to show you how to get these $80,000 of new stimulus checks that are going live in just a few days. Get your pen and paper ready, folks, because this is what you pounce on. You're a Purple Hawk, and you know how to pounce better than anyone else. It's coming up after the commercial break. Then we'll be looking back at what's happening with Vladimir Putin. Odessa is his next target, and it's ramping up very quickly. New calls and new changes for what's being done in Ukraine this afternoon. Then we'll be looking at the humanitarian crisis. We're looking at the impact on wheat and grain back at home and the impact on oil and gas. New developing details of what's happening with oil and gas just in the last few minutes. I have the latest breaking details and what Vladimir Putin continues to advance in Ukraine in a war which may not be one day, 1 week or 1 month, new analyst reports suggest it may be for years to come. The latest details on that in the second half of this video and how it impacts your wallet at home. It's a big afternoon's broadcast. We're just getting started, and I want you to stay with me. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And good afternoon, everybody. The excitement continues right now from the shores of Santa Monica, California, as we go into a big second half of afternoon's LALATE. Oil and gas prices surging overnight, and now the new indication suggests that we could see $4 a gallon as the average price in the United States by next week. What is the White House doing for that situation? All the latest details in the second half of this video. Plus, we'll be looking at the price of wheat and grain surging out of control, and this could cause economic instability. Meantime, $80,000 in new stimulus checks? Yes, they're going out. Are you ready to get them? Not automatic. You got to get your fingers and pen and paper ready to get those sums of money. What are you watching? You're watching LALATE, America's most watched financial show in prime time, with evenings LALATE at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. You don't want to miss that 1 hour special report tonight. It's 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and 7 o'clock Central. The most watched financial show in prime time, evenings LALATE, coming up tonight, going over more about these incredible checks featured in tonight's recording and the situation internationally that impacts your money at home. Let's go back into the incredible sums of money with those new $80,000 of stimulus checks going live in the next few days. The President of the United States addressed the American people during the State of the Union address, and then shortly thereafter, his administration released a new program of checks for millions of Americans. Average payout, $15,000 to $80,000 per household. Eligibility, much like a first, second, or third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less, you would get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it, double it. And family of four, yeah, it's very, very similar situation. What is it called? It's called the Homeowners Assistance Fund, and it's funded by the Department of Treasury with $10 billion of funds allocated. Average payout is $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. Eligibility is for anyone who has a primary residence who needs assistance and falls within those income qualifications I just went over. When does it go live? Where do you get the money? How do you get the money? It'll be featured tonight on Evenings LA, and of course, all the links, all the descriptions, all the monies are in the membership newsletter for members of this channel that comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. The link to become a member is under the video. The money is incredible because of cover items that many viewers of this channel have asked to get coverage for over a year and a half, and we haven't had it until now. Homeowners insurance, property taxes, mortgage payments, association fees, utilities, and even home repairs. Average payment is $15,000 to $80,000. If you're a single person with $75,000 or less annual income, this is likely you. And you don't generally have to be behind on the funds. The situation right now is that the program is about to go live. So this is much like how this channel was on day one when I told you that EIDL was about to go live, PUA was about to go live. I showed you where the application was. We went through the application together. I showed you how to fill out the application, how to fill out the forms. This is much like the same situation. It will be online with a map, with a website. It's all featured in the revamped newsletter. First added to the newsletter that went out last Friday and will be covered all this week, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For more details on these incredible $80,000 of checks, I'm going to go over more about them tonight in that 1 hour Evenings LA special broadcast at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The President of the United States addressed the American people in a new interview that will be released in detail tonight on Evenings, in which he says Build Back Better Act needs to get passed because of gasoline prices. Interesting. Why not just fix gasoline prices rather than do Build Back Better? Well, he's going to do both of them. Let's make that very clear. You don't just say, do Build Back Better because gasoline's out of control. You have to fix both of those situations. And so Build Back Better Act has lots of checks in there, and the president's now using the price of gasoline as an advocacy vehicle to get Build Back Better done. I like it. I like it. So where is gasoline right today? The national average could track to $4 a gallon. This is a new report obtained by LA just minutes ago from John Kittleloff, partner at Again Capital. AAA, which tracks gasoline prices in the United States, says that the national average for unleaded on Friday was $3.83 a gallon, up 11 cents in just a day and 26 cents in a week. What are you paying for gasoline for unleaded where you are right now? Jump in the live chat. Now, the situation for Brent crude is that it's growing by the minute. Brent crude is the international benchmark for determining how much gasoline it is internationally. And the time of this recording, it's at 118. It was 118 last night on this channel. It has trended from about 112 to 120 on this channel the last 7 days. Now understand, on day one of Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, it shot from $100 a barrel to nearly 105. Then it went down as low as 94. Through some moving of barrels by the White House, but that didn't sustain anything at all. At 120, we're not sustainable as an economy. At 125, we're not sustainable as an economy. What's at issue? What's at issue is that gasoline prices need to come down or we go into recession. And how are the issues at hand being dealt with? Tonight on Evenings LA, I'll go into a special recording about where gasoline prices are right now and where they're heading. But this is what you need to know. Gasoline prices need to be stabilized in the United States. They cannot stay at high levels indefinitely because if they do, we go into 2 years of recession. Right now, Wall Street analysts say if gasoline prices for Brent crude stay at $120 a barrel or more for at least a couple more months, then we're going into 2022 and 2023 and 2024 as recessionary years. Now, how do you bring the price of gasoline down? You increase production in West Texas. That's how you bring our gasoline down because the more gasoline available, the cheaper it is. We're not an importer of gasoline from Russia, with less than 5% of our imports from Russia, but the situation is that while we can solve our gas shortages here, we also have to shore up our gas shortages for our international partners like Italy. Because if their economies go under because they don't have enough gasoline, then guess what? Our economy could go under as well. Tonight on Evenings LA, I'll go more into the details of what the president has as options to solve the situation, what the president has done, and what the president has not done. We do know, in a series of new comments that will be detailed tonight, is that the White House has been aware of the situation since at least October, thank goodness. But another issue, which is very troubling, which you're only going to hear on this channel, is that a second industry, wheat, has not been focused upon by the administration, and that has been apparent potential casualty, economic casualty, of Vladimir Putin's acts of aggressions as early as last October. When asked about the situation in a series of new interviews, the White House has nothing ready on board for it. Where is the situation overseas today, and what is impacting Vladimir Putin's move across the board? I'll be going over more about that in a second, but the situation is that if you don't have oil stabilized in prices in the United States, then our economy could fall into recession. Unemployment could surge, and all the incredible money that I've gotten viewers of this channel could have less value. Now, you need money. Gasoline prices are going up, so how do you get more money? I'm going to show you how to get third stimulus right now, and this is big money that viewers can get in addition to CR for stimulus, in addition to Build Back Better, in addition to $80,000 of checks. And this requires you to use your fingers. Viewers have gotten $45,000 for this channel, and I congratulate all the viewers who make the effort to get this money every single day. Let's look at how you get those sums of money right now. You're going to reach out to 6 places: your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, and your county housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You must do 3 things. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must get multiple applications on file, and you must do multiple rounds. Now, viewers of this channel have really taken this to another level in recent days because guess what? They're now getting upwards of 1 year of money. Yes, when we talk about rounds, we usually talk about 3 to 5 months of rent. But viewers have listened so well to this in view of the events that are unfolding, especially oil and gas, that they are now getting 1 year of rent, or 2 rounds of 5 months of rent. In some cases, viewers are getting 7 years of assistance. This is huge. Now, viewers of this channel have always succeeded a third stimulus. Viewers have gotten $100,000, $150,000. But in a single round where they're getting 1 year of assistance, this is why the viewership of this channel stands apart from everything else. This channel launched in April 2020 to show viewers how to get sums of money from new programs going live. And when viewers make the initiative, listen to the videos, educate themselves, drop questions and ask, how do I get it? Where do I get it? Open the membership newsletter and go through it, they succeed. Shaking a tin cup saying, when is a check laying in my bank account, doesn't get anyone any money. And especially when there's $80,000 of new checks going live, it ain't going to help you either, because you got to go to a website, fill out an application, be ready to pounce, and you can't wait. You got to move quickly. And when you do, you clean up with a royal flush of checks and dollar bills. That's the spirit of this channel, and you should be ready to pounce across the board. As we turn back to the situation with wheat today, wheat is actually more troubling. Why? Many reasons. Wheat could destabilize our economy faster than oil, and wheat is a major issue at hand. Why? Vladimir Putin's acts of aggression against Ukraine are targeting now the Black Sea. Odessa, the beautiful port city featured in this imagery right now, with its gorgeous opera house, has been covered on this channel for upwards of a week. Vladimir Putin is still not taking Odessa, but he wants to. Why? It's the major port city of Ukraine. And because it's along the beautiful coast, there's incredible rich soil. That rich soil provides wheat and grain to neighboring countries. What's happening? Wheat prices in the United States are surging out of control to 8-year highs. And if wheat prices surge out of control because of Vladimir Putin's acts of aggressions, he starts to win because he makes it harder for us to live at home. What is the White House doing in the situation? Tonight on Evenings LA, I'll go over the details of why the White House has done nothing on the situation, did nothing back in October, and hasn't actually even dispatched anyone to deal with the situation today. With nothing at place to even deal with where wheat prices are going out of control, why is the White House waiting on the situation when it is a very fluid situation and those sums of money need to be stabilized? The situation is that if you can't stabilize wheat prices, then what next? A new series of reports today suggests that Vladimir Putin's acts of aggressions may turn Ukraine into not a 1-week war, not a 1-month war, but a multi-year war. And if wheat and grain prices aren't even stabilized today, what does it mean for us, our money at home? I'll have more about that tonight on that evening's 1-hour special broadcast. Meantime, what's happening overseas that impacts your wallet as well? The latest details on Ukraine and Russia at the time of this broadcast, made shortly after sunrise here on March 6th, Sunday, is that new sanctions are being levied by the United States against Russia. President Vladimir Zelensky confirms that Ukraine President Zelensky confirms that many countries every day have now confirmed new sanctions, but the United States is preparing new sanctions that will include sanctions for Russia and support for Ukrainian officials and citizens. Safe harbor. The safe harbor issue has been a major issue. What is a safe harbor? It's a corridor in which women and children can flee war-torn Ukraine to Poland. Last week, the only glimmer of hope between negotiations with Ukrainian and Russian officials was to provide a corridor in which women and children could safely flee. How does this look? What would it look like if it was back in your hometown of America? It would look like a major highway, cleared, told by your local city council. For 5 hours today, you can get on that highway, it will be cleared, and you can run to the next state and flee with your mothers and daughters and grandmothers. You'll be safe. There'll be no militia. There'll be no bombing. Run for it and take your last belongings, and this is your safe exit. It's called a safe corridor. That was the result of negotiations between Russian and Ukrainian officials early this week. When it happened, and those women and children went into the corridor, suddenly they didn't see what they were anticipating. They heard bombing. They saw Russian troops blocking them. So they rushed back in their homes. Immediately, we knew there was a problem. As featured in the Saturday and Friday broadcasts of this channel, immediately the safe harbor corridors were shut down. And then negotiations resumed again, asking why these safe corridors were not effectuated. Mariupol City Council, Mariupol City Council, immediately sent out an alert to citizens go back inside. The safe corridors are not clear. Russian officials are trying to block it. So, a second attempt. On Sunday, Ukrainian Interior Minister Advisor Anton Gurnarsky said that Russia again was attempting to violate the safe corridor a second time. It's very hard at the time of this recording to keep track of how many violations have happened. But it looks like at the time of this broadcast recorded shortly after sunrise on Sunday, March 6th, that there have been 2 attempts to have safe corridor for citizens of Ukraine to Poland. And at least twice, at least in the town of Mariupol, Russian officials have violated that order. Bottom line is people that are women and children trying to flee cannot get out. Number 2. New details today are confirmed by Secretary of State Antony Blinken that Ukraine, quote, has plans in place if President Zelensky is killed during the Russian invasion. The Ukrainians have plans in place, and I'm not going to talk about them in any further details. Next, could Russian economy and Russian bonds go into junk status? That's what many analysts, including myself, believe. Moody's analysts today said that it is now reduced Russian valuation to neutral. And this is likely to recovery for investors along historical averages. The recovery expectations are less than 35%. My analysis is that Russia could potentially go into junk valuation within about 7 days from now. Elsewhere, the United States has now dedicated more planes to be sent over to Poland to help the Ukrainian situation. I'm looking actively to the question of planes. I can't speak about timeline, says Blinken. And finally, Odessa. Russians have always come to Odessa, always felt in Odessa only warmth and only sincerity. And now what? You're bringing bombs to Odessa, artillery against Odessa, military against Odessa. It will be a war crime, and it will be a historic war crime. Those are comments by President Zelensky of Ukraine. Odessa is the crown jewel of the Black Sea. It's also the #1 port city that really fuels not only the import and export of the country of Ukraine, but also helps neighboring countries as well. Vladimir Putin's focus is to take Odessa. I've been featuring Odessa for over 7 days on the channel, and it still withstand the potential fall to Russian troops. That's good, #1. #2, Vladimir Putin's still not taken the port city of Odessa. That's also good. #3, there has been no destruction of its actual cultural jewel that many people fear, because this is one of the great jewels of the 1700s, dating back to the 1700s. And finally, the economic disparity that can come from it has not happened yet. Gershon is a neighboring town featured on this channel last week, desecrated by massive cluster bombing. That is not happening with Odessa yet. Odessa is a more strategic position to take and grapple the import and export out of Ukraine. Vladimir Putin got a similar win this week when he took the major power plant in the center of Ukraine, which funnels and powers 80% of the population of the Ukrainian people. Elsewhere, the situation in Poland unfolding dramatically. The number of refugees growing from 500,000 2 million to 1.5 million at the time of this recording. It's growing about 500,000 per day. Many of these towns have 300,000 to multi-million residents in a particular town. And while evacuations have been difficult and have been blocked by Russian officials, the Ukrainian crisis could bring nearly 10 million refugees to neighboring Poland. UN statements today indicate that this will be the largest refugee situation since World War II. Elsewhere, Vladimir Putin had horrible comments when referring to Ukraine yesterday. I'll feature them tonight on evening's LA 1-hour special broadcast. But let's land first with your money. Your money back at home. You need more money. Gas and prices going up. And tonight on Evenings LA, I'll show you why millions of Americans went back to work in the month of January, but saw their check go up 5% and inflation go up 8%. Meaning they took a job and the job paid them more than last year, but the value of the check went down less. Elsewhere, grain, corn, and soybean prices at the supermarket going up substantially. Have you seen it? And why is it not being dealt with? I'll have all those details as well. And finally, those $80,000 of checks. We got a lot of money coming up tonight, folks, on that evening's 1-hour special broadcast. It's at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. It's brand new and features all your big money and how it's impacted by these world events. If you have questions or comments, success stories, or suggestions, send them to me on private message on social media, and I'll potentially feature them on air. Have a beautiful afternoon. I look forward to seeing you tonight on Evenings. Stay informed, stay focused, keep yourself motivated, keep yourself positive, keep yourself intact, and keep yourself informed. Get ready for all those incredible checks because there are for you. Pounce, Purple Hawks. This is your opportunity to get more money. See you tonight on Evenings.